Okay guys, this is step 4 of Unit 8, Introduction to AutoCAD. This is going to be constructing a size A decimal sheet. We're going to be going over this, so it'll be an updated video and hopefully working out all the kinks that prior students have had. So, here we go. Right away when you get into AutoCAD, of course, you're going to get to the Start menu. A lot of you guys may not have this option, and it will automatically go right up to a screen that looks similar to this. At this point, we're looking for a decimal template, and so you're going to be looking for the ACAD, as in ACAD. You're going to go ahead and open it. Last video we did this one. We're doing this one now. Once it opens, we can get into a screen like this. Okay, just to verify that we are using dim style, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line. So one thing you will notice in all my videos, I will use the command bar down here by just simply typing in commands I'm looking for, rather than searching them out in my toolbar up here, which can be beneficial, but also can kind of slow a person down when in AutoCAD. So I'm going to type a line. I'm going to verify that this is a decimal by looking at the actual numbers. Notice 7.0735. If it was metric, it would be close to 300 millimeters. So I am therefore in a decimal template. What we're looking to do, guys, is set up a template for the actual size A border, which looks like this. You will find this PDF in your OneNote under AutoCAD, Unit 8, and it will say size A drawing. If I go back to the screen, you will also notice that you have also seen one like this, the metric. However, we are doing decimal now. So what I'm going to simply do is set up a couple components that you guys probably have already seen, but we're going to just do it really quick. And if you need to, slow down the video or ask for help. Okay, here I'm in an AutoCAD. I will go ahead and delete Layout 2. I do not need Layout 2. I will rename Layout 1 as size A decimal. I will right click it and I will set up. I got to be in the page layout first, and then I'm going to set up Page Setup Manager. At that point, this screen will pop up. I'm going to modify it, and I'm going to choose the color printer. A lot of you guys will say something different. It is the same printer you use for your metric one. So if you're confused, call me over. Make sure you are on letter, and don't touch anything else. At that point, I'm going to hit OK. You'll notice my background will get a lot bigger. I guess it won't. It doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to simply draw some lines, and I know that I am supposed to be 10.5 across by 8 all the way down, 10.5 over again. Command skill here is I'm going to type in offset, and I'm going to simply just bring that line up. Notice, if I don't really want to, I don't have to type out the entire word. And the reason why is because this is a command that I use quite a bit. And I will just simply type in what it should be, which is 3/8. I'll grab it, pull it up. And now I'm going to type in a line. If we go back to the video, or I'm sorry, the PDF, you're going to notice I have multiple screens on my computer, so I'm looking at something you guys can't see. So I'm going to go ahead and go over 3.5, and then I'm going to start from the right-hand side, 3/4, 3/4, 1 inch, 1 inch. Once I get this set up, I'm going to put it on all my fields, and then we'll go from there. Here we are. L for line. I'm scrolling over. I'm not typing. I'm not clicking. I let it snap. I pull over, 3.5. I come down. I go vertical. Doing it again. This time it's 3/4. Notice I'm using fractions or decimal. AutoCAD's smart enough that it actually figures it out, that you're using a fraction versus decimal. I am now going to switch my offset dimension. Instead of using 3/4, I'm just going to simply type in what I want it to be. So these are skills that you guys will learn as you go. Now that I have this all set up, I'm going to go ahead and put a text in. And remember, it's just a simple line text, but I'm going to corner, and I'm going to do a center middle justification once it loads. Center middle. And what I'm going to do is, instead of typing, I'm going to go right up to field. This screen will pop up. I will then go ahead and click document, because this is going to be the file name only. File save as. Notice the text in all of this must be 1/8 of an inch. So I'll type in 1/8 of an inch. I'll leave it alone. Let's go to the next one. Field. This one here is going to be under plot, login, keep it as that. Select it all. 125. Alright. This one would be the scale. So this is going to be a new style that you guys are going to be learning. We're going to go to objects. Then we're going to go object. And now the object type, we're going to click the pointer so we can select the object, and we're going to select this viewport here. And now the viewport has been selected, and we're doing a standard scale, and it's going to say custom because we have not set the scale yet, which we'll go over later. Control A is simply just selecting it. If I wanted to, I could click and scroll over the text, but Control A simply just changes it. Now, instead of doing multi-text again, I'm going to simply select it, CO as in copy, hit enter. Keep in mind, I could type out the entire word, but I choose not to because it is a command I use quite a bit. I'll grab a corner, bring it over. Now, I will not do it to these two because these two have a different width style. So I'm just instead going to make them. But I'm only going to make one because I'm going to copy the other one. This here is going to be date. No, this is period actually. So these last two, you physically put them in yourself. I'm period 0. Of course, you need to write your own period that you are actually in class. There it is. I'm going to select it. Notice I select something before I copy it, because then it's going to just simply ask you, after you type in copy, what you would like to copy. But if you do go ahead and select it already, it'll automatically defaulting to copying that. This is unit 8, of course. The text on this is going to be a 16th. If you have questions on the size of all of this stuff, go ahead and go back to the template. You will notice I have dimensions on everything. Title block text, which is everything down here, is labeled at 1.25. However, notice I have something in parentheses under the unit. It gives you the fraction that it should be dimensioned. Okay, come back to here. This one's still wrong. This needs to be date. Instead of remaking it, I'm going to select it to open up in the text, and I'm going to double click where it says custom. At that point, this field will open back up, and I will change it to date and time. And not create a date, but date. There we go. Everything looks good. The date will automatically update. Some of you guys, if you have started a new drawing and this date will not update, what you can simply do is go under Insert, select Update Field, select it, and if the day is new and it has not updated, select Update or Update Field, select the text, hit Enter. It will fix itself. So let's go over an example by doing the custom one. So I'm going to select it. Okay, notice it's custom, and the reason why it's custom is because I'm under custom, but I need to be a 1-to-1. Let's find out if it'll change. And look at that, it does not change. However, if I do an update field, select it, hit enter, it changes. This is different than the metric one. I'm going to require you to go back to your metric, open up where we had selected plot scale. I want you to double click plot scale. Keep in mind, this is talking about your metric template. Switch it from plot, scale, to objects, then object, and then select the object type by selecting your viewport. After you've selected your viewport, if it does not pop up, call me over because you most likely have not unfrozen your viewport. This is something that is going to fix our issues with why our viewports are not showing correctly. It's something I've just recently learned. So we're going to try to get this all set up for you guys. Okay, So we're back to here. Of course, you guys know what viewport is now. I have not made any layers. I have not gone over any dim styles yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to transfer over our previous layers, and that way we don't have to go through this whole thing, layer properties all over again. Make it easier on us because we don't really want to keep typing all of that in there. But before I go over that, let's just simply explain something to you again. A lot of you guys will go over and dimension a bunch of stuff, and you guys will open up your decimal dim style, but you'll automatically, by accident, click the metric dim style, and you will dimension it, and your dimensions will look massive. And the reason why is because you have chosen metric and not decimal dim style. If I select it once or just scroll over, it describes everything. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and dimension this really quick by clicking linear. Notice there's different commands underneath my dimension style. I can do a radius, a diameter, which we'll be learning in command skills in later units. But I'm going to go ahead and do it linear, and I'm going to type in everything I need. Notice I'm going to let it snap, but not click, to the center or midpoint. Scroll off and type in my 3/8 because that's what it's required to be. Keep in mind your dim style is massive. It's because we have not changed anything yet. We're just giving you a case in point on how things will look before you dimension them and what they will look like after. So one skill you guys will notice is if I use the enter key, enter opens up the previous command. So here's the thing that I'm doing. Instead of physically clicking linear every time, I just got done dimensioning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click enter one more time. It'll open up the previous command, and I will just simply click. Now notice, I know I need to be 3/8, but there's no need for me to type it anymore because I'm just going to let it snap to the center or to a point that is on the same plane. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Quick, easy, fast. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to open up the actual dim style, and we're going to go through this. Keep in mind, that was the same PDF as this one right here. I've gone ahead and opened it. I will go through this. I will pause the video so you do not have to watch me do this. Keep in mind, go to the very end, which means below the actual scale of talking about it. We go down here, and it goes even further. Okay, so we're back, and at this point I've already done everything that it's asked me on the dim style for decimal dim style and both the M-liter dim style. As you can tell, my texts are smaller. I have not gone ahead and put in my M-liters, which are going to be the black text, of course, and I have not put in the text in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and switch the layer, make my M-liters, and get this thing all finished up. Here we are. I will go ahead and select what I have by clicking and dragging. Notice I'm clicking and dragging things versus just individual clicking on things. It's very important to do that. Oh, well, we have not done the actual layers, so we better do that. Actually, scratch that. We're going to put M-liters in. So some of you guys will notice that it'll snap to corners that I don't like. So I could either click and just drag over and then click and drag and type in what I want, which this one's going to be drawing title. Oops. It goes to the size I want because I've done all the M-liters. So instead of clicking liter again, I'm just going to hit enter one more time. I'm going to let it snap, scroll over, click. I'm going to type it. This is name. Hit enter again. So scale. Notice it's automatically defaulting because I've done everything in my M-liters to make sure that it goes to a 16th. But if I didn't do M-liters, these would be a lot, or dim style, or even, M-liters. It'd be going to a larger scale, so I'd have to change it here. There's no need for me to do that. So if you choose to actually click on the center, if it's not letting you, then you can change some things, and that would be in your snap settings, which are going to be down here. So I'd right click this and I would click nearest, and at that point it's going to let me select what I want. This would be period, and the last one would be unit. Keep in mind I have parentheses, do exactly what you see. I'm going to do, I don't like the look of that, so this needs to be capitalized, and this needs to be center, middle. And now it'll look nice. I'm going to ignore all this because I'll fix that later. So I got to put one more text in, which is going to be in the middle. Center middle justification, and I'm going to type in exactly what I see. Perfect. Select it all, and it's got to be 0.125. Enter. There it is. Notice this is all done on paper space, not model space. Notice I can't select it. Notice my cursor goes out. It disappears once I go outside my viewport, which we've already gone over, so I don't need to say that and be redundant about it. Go back to my paper. Now I can simply select stuff, and that includes the viewport because the viewport must be shown on model, so I can move it around. So we're just going to size this a little bit different so it doesn't get confusing. And now the next step is to bring over our layer properties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply, I can't delete these two. It just won't let me. Layer 0 and the defaults. So what I need to do is I need to open up my previous drawing, which would have been in metric. So let's go open. I'm going to go into this one, drawing templates. This is my metric one. We're going to go ahead and open it up. At this point, I've got everything set up. Remember, we've already done the viewport scale correctly by opening it up. Double clicking it. Oh, I guess I didn't do this one. See, this is the old one, so this is a perfect opportunity for you guys to fix your metric templates. So what I need to do is I need to go back to my home. First, I need to get out of text. Go back to home, bring back my viewport, and it is back. However, it's not showing up, so I'm going to right-click, draw order, send to the back. Now I can select my viewport. Notice it opens up. Yes? So now that I can select it, because it was underneath the actual borderline, I'm going to open up my field within my paper under Plot, double-click it, go to Objects, then Object, and then point to what I want to select. Notice it says Viewport. That's what I'm looking for. If it says something other than Viewport, you're doing it wrong and you're not clicking on Viewport. So, standard scale, it's custom. Why? Because we've already gone over this. If I don't want it custom, I've got to change it to a 1-to-1. And at that point, it will be fixed. I've just got to update my field by going to Insert, Field Update, selecting it. I got to get back into paper, and then doing it again. Field Update, selecting Custom, hit Enter. Now it goes to a 1-to-1. Okay, so we understand what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze my viewport again, because I don't want to see it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy my layers over by selecting this icon here. This screen will pop up. You will do a new one, and you will simply type in what I've done here. Ah, crap. You'll name it AutoCAD Layers, okay? So if I went New, AutoCAD Layers, you can type whatever you want in here. You hit OK. We better just type something. And at that point, this will pop up. Of course, we've named it. I don't want to name another one because I've already got one, so I'm going to delete that one. So you have it. I'm going to hit export. And at this point, remember, it's very important about file location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it where I should have it, which would be in my UZ, right? Drafting, AutoCAD. And you have already made all these. Introduction to AutoCAD templates. And I'm going to save it here. Now, it's very important here. This is a file type as in a .las. Okay, that represents the layer states. If you try to open it as a drawing, it's not going to show up because it is not an AutoCAD file or a DWG file. So I'm going to go ahead and save it here. I'm going to name it just like what I've named it back on the previous screen. I'm going to hit save. Okay, notice I've got these all selected. Okay, it has now been exported. I'm going to cancel out. I'm going to get out of this screen and I'm going to go back to my drawing, my decimal drawing. I'm going to go back into layer properties. I'm going to click on the same icon, layer state manager. And at this point, now I'm going to import what I exported from the metric template. Notice it's not popping up, is it? Because I need to go to this. And there it is. I will hit open. Some of you, if yours does not open automatically to this, you need to go back to your U drive or Z drive. Go to Drafting AutoCAD and go all the way through to where you have saved it. Don't just randomly save it where you want to save it. Make sure it goes where it should be. So I'm going to open it up. Yes, I wanted to restore everything. Good. Now one thing you will notice, guys, is that the colors did not change. The line types did not change. So I'm going to pause the video and go ahead and switch them all back. Make sure that they all go in there. And I'll come back to you. Okay guys, the video's back and I have updated and transferred everything with you and gone ahead and fixed everything in layer properties. So everything's set up to where it should be with the line weight, the color, and of course the line type. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and change the stuff. Remember, all decimals, oh not decimal, I'm sorry. All of our dimensions need to be under the dimension layer. So I'm going to go ahead and select that stuff, escape, and text all needs to be under title block. Last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and select this and change this to the viewport because that's the layer it should be. Now I'm going to select all of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze stuff. So I can just do a quick grab, go to layer 0, and now let's just freeze. All the dimensions go away, the viewports go away, and all my text goes away. So what I need to select now is this stuff. And this stuff needs to be title block. It'll go away. And now I know that all of this must be border. There we go. So let's just unfreeze everything again. Bringing it all back. Perfect. I'm going to bring my viewport to my window. Letting it snap. And now notice my viewport is on top, but I don't want it to be on top, so I'm going to go ahead and select it. Actually, I take that back. It's not on top. Notice when I select it, the border line's coming up, but the viewport is showing it as on top. So I'm going to right click that, draw order, send to the front. And no, I'm not sure why that's being that way. Yeah, so I don't want to see my viewport anymore. So let's go ahead and freeze it. Let's just see what happens. There we go. Notice I have some stuff as in extension lines that are over the top of things. So I'm going to right click them, go to properties, let my window snap to the side, turn off my extension lines. This one needs it off, but I don't know which one it is. So I'm going to select it, delete it. Oh, wrong one, I'm sorry. Here we go. Wrong one. That's the right one. Now let's go over to this one and do the same thing. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I think we're set up. I think I'm ready to rock and roll. Last but not least, we got to put our actual border within our model space so we know what we're drawing within. So I can individually select it all like this. Right click, clipboard, copy with base point, select a corner, go right to model now. Right click, clipboard, paste. Doesn't matter where I put it. One quick skill, when you type in trim, right now it's asking you to select everything, so you can individually select everything that you want to trim. But if you hit enter one more time, it'll automatically select everything within the screen. I'm going to join it, make it a shape. Now it's a shape. Go back to my metric or decimal paper space. Go to model, center click twice, and then change it to a 1:1 and lock it up. Boom. If I don't want to see the grid behind, I'm going to just undo the grid. Okay, go back to my paper space. Here we are. Fix up some things that don't look nice, so I might just move this down there so it's off my text. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Alright, so as far as I know, I think this is done. Make sure your last thing you need to do is do a file save as, so you can click the icon save as or simply go to file save as. Remember where this stuff needs to be saved at. It needs to go into your U drive, drafting, AutoCAD, templates. This needs to be size A decimal. Boom. Notice it changed here because that's a field that we have updated and put in there. Okay, this video is done.